Hello viewers. Well, as I've mentioned many times over the years, futuristic racing games are one of my favourite genres. And with the recent release of Redout 2, I wanted to take a look at the game in greater detail, while also looking back at the evolution of the futuristic racing genre. Adding a few of my thoughts, plus an interview with the developers, understanding their own inspiration and what they are focused on in achieving with Redout 2, taking community feedback on board in their aim to make it the best futuristic racing game ever.
You are about to experience the future. Never before have you had to cope with advanced 3D graphics. 360-degree rotation. 96 levels. 32,000 colors. Even more enemies.
My personal introduction to the genre took a quantum leap forward with F-Zero on the Super Nintendo. The new Mode 7 technology enabling smooth, rotating 3D environments. This combined with the ability to display 128 colours on screen, enabling wonderfully atmospheric visuals, all going by at breakneck speed. This combined with floaty physics that gave each craft its own weight and feel. All of these elements combined into moulding a stunning game, and it got me hooked into the genre.
The real 3DO player is here. Only from Panasonic. An interactive multiplayer that's up to 50 times.
Meanwhile, technology enabled the genre to move forward. Crash and Burn on the 3DO to Mega Race to many other racing titles were coming through. New vision, new artwork, new sound design, taking it forward all of the time. This was until the mid-90s, and the next big step forward would be Wipeout. Announced in early 1995, it was a game that not only defined the genre, but brought in a more mature audience, featuring Designer Republic assets, popular dance music from the likes of Left Field and the Chemical Brothers. Beside it being a damn fine game, gaming went from geeky to cool. The futuristic racing genre was a viable market, with more and more awesome titles being released within the genre, besides the Wipeout sequels. Through the years, through the generations, so many great titles have been released in the genre, but then at some point the trail ends. The genre fades from the mainstream, and the reliance on independent developers to keep the genre alive. That was until 2017's Redout, futuristic racing game with unique art style, fast flowing visuals, innovative new controller option, and that stunning in-house soundtrack. All supported with some fantastic DLC, expanding the game and its overall scale to new heights. Now in 2022, Redout is back with Redout 2, blasting out of the blocks, combining all of the elements that made the original great and taking everything a stage further. So, to find out more, I spoke to Redout 2 developers Ivano Zanchita, creative director, and Paolo Ameo, audio director, to find out more. Let's see what they had to say. Okay viewers, so we've seen lots of awesome futuristic racing games there. Many of them I've played over the years and enjoyed a great deal. And now I'm joined today by two of the developers of Redout 2. We have Ivano, the creative director. Hello Ivano.
Hi guys.
And we have Paolo, the audio director as well. Hello Paolo.
Hello, hello.
Well, it's great to have you chaps with me here today, and it's always a privilege to speak to you, the developers of these different racing games, especially games that I'm very passionate for. And Redout 2 is a game that I've been looking forward to playing properly for a while. I've played it a little bit on stream. I want to put more time into it, and I want to learn more about it. And if you're watching more today, we're all going to learn more about this game and how it's moved forward and the games that have inspired it. But we've already seen some classics on the intro, some games that they take us back years. And so before we discuss Redout 2, I'd like to learn a little bit about the futuristic racing games that inspired both of you over the years. What are the key examples you remember? Paolo, if you'd like to start, tell me about some of your passion and some of the racing games that inspired you.
Well, of course, Wipeout was the first, game, the first reference that comes to my mind. I remember that I was playing this game when I was a kid, and with a friend, we were playing Wipeout in a club for people like dancing in the club, and we were playing Wipeout live on the big screen, and that's the story. So, connecting dots. Here we are with Redout 2.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a game in a way that was sort of more of an adult game, wasn't it? We'd moved from games for children to games for students and adults. It had the dance music, the older, more mature themes in there as well. It sort of worked for everybody, and it was challenging, So, of course, Ivano, same question to yourself. What are some of the racing games, the futuristic ones that inspired you?
Yeah, the inspiration for Redout, of course, it was Wipeout first, and of course also F-Zero. But we had other references, and it was like Star Wars, but also the first Grip. It was really a futuristic and sci-fi racing game, and it was so cool that influenced a lot. I think also another game that inspired us is Trackmania, of course, because it's with this all roller coaster feeling, and we want to recreate that feeling.
Absolutely. I think, like you say, Trackmania, it's got that fluidity to it in terms of design and that sort of level of perfection. And whenever you watch players playing these games, I'm always blown away by how good they actually can get at the game. So some great classics there, and of course Wipeout stands out as being, like you say, a game that moved the genre of gaming forward, not just futuristic racing, but style, music, pop culture of the 90s. Goodness me, years ago now, but we still love it. Right, let's move on to Redout 2. Energy, action, colour. What are the key new features players can look forward to in Redout 2?
Well, Redout 2, it was a big improvement from Redout 1. We want to increase the feeling of the speed and the sensation of the speed. We want to really melt in your face, literally, from colors and speed, and we wanted to achieve this kind of improvement since Redout 1, that it was really the fastest game ever made, or we like to say this, but Redout 2, it's fastest.
It's that rush, isn't it? The rush of blood to the head or whatever, and you really do notice it, I find, when you're sort of going down and you're going around those outer curves, and it all goes, it's sort of the rush there, and it's, the full control you have over your craft as well. The fact that you're not just turning from side to side, you're actually controlling the pivots and everything that the craft goes through. It's almost like a flight sim in its own way. So,
we started from the feeling of kind of drone controlling feeling, but of course we are racing on a magnetic track field, and with the camera we want to enhance some nuance of the speed that in other game we didn't found it, like kinetic lines, and also the movement of the camera that is following the track with some vertigo feelings that you receive when you jump or when you go through the slope in a very fast manner.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it certainly happens a lot in the game. We'll be sure to show some of that. Redout featured a unique art and design process. It was quite abstract in its own way, very, very fluid. How has Redout 2 evolved on this?
Yeah, with Redout 1 we had one pivot point, that it was low poly style with next gen lighting. It was really win-win situation, and we learned a lot in Redout 1 about lighting, reflection, and modeling, and so on. With Redout 2, we want to make a step further. We want to really create a living universe, because Redout it's born as a franchise. So we set some of the keystone of the narrative and the backstory of the Redout universe. And with Redout 2, we want to enhance this narrative with pertinent buildings, and really try to explain what happened before the Redout 2 competition. And you can see many connecting points between Redout 1, Redout 2, and Space Assault. It's the spin-off. For example, Cairo is one of the best piloted environment for Redout. Since Redout 1, there's a lot of reference of what happened in the next year in the past of Redout universe, and we try to accomplish also the next gen feeling of the design in art, and also with sound and music. We want to underline the mood of each env in a proper way.
Nobody knows what happened to the ancient Iris Origin station once located here. We know only that a black hole appeared suddenly in its place. The concentrated gravity of this matter-devouring beast was fully contained, and it is now a space dumpster. Here, the gravitational forces are extreme, the darkness almost impenetrable. This is the ultimate test for Redout pilots.
I've noticed with the introduction to the levels, there's more of a story element now, and we'll have been looking at a bit of that just to put you where this track is, why it's there, what are the unique challenges of whoever lives there and stuff like that. And that was something which was missing from the first game, was that you had these cool craft, but they were so alien that we didn't really understand them or why these tracks were there. So it's given it all a bit more meaning. Let's talk about circuit design. How have things moved on? Are tracks from the first game going to reappear?
Of course, we have difference between Redout 1 and Redout 2. We take some decision on the track design starting from the fork. We implemented the fork along the racetrack that it wasn't present in Redout 1. In Redout 1 we had portals, and portals has pro and cons as always, and we decided to try to achieve a more motorsport feeling with the split tracks, and we can see in some tracks other opponents in other paths, and we thought that these kind of things can enhance the competition. You are looking at the opponents that it's running ahead from you, or it can jump over you, because many fork are connecting and creating cross path, and it was a nice touch for the design. I think this is the main point of the track design we added in Redout 2.
There is a lot more in the way of jumps this time. You also have your sort of your yaw control with the D-pad, so you've got to be fast in terms of, you know, making sure you get those perfect landings, because there's a lot of tilting in the craft, and it really is quite a challenge this time. So you will need to have your racing head and your aircraft head when you're playing Redout 2. It is a great challenge in terms of these tracks. I guess in the first game, Neptune was the one that always stands out to me as the one with the most jumps, where you had to get into that rhythm, I guess, really get used to where those jumps were. In that sense, track knowledge is key, and certainly is going to be key in Redout 2. Now, one of the big new elements is customization. There is a huge range of customization in Redout 2. So what are the core elements? Do different teams feature different areas of performance to optimize? What can we expect?
Yeah, the feeling we want to send to the player is that we are competing in a motorsport, in the next motorsport. So we want to achieve this kind of control that you can create your own style, literally from design and aesthetics, but also functional. So you can set up your ship as you prefer. If you are a drifter or if you are a speed-seeking mad person, you can try to enhance this kind of stats. So you have totally freedom in how you play and how you want to progress along the career, and that's a big thing because we push a lot on that part of the game. The customization is a core part, and you can see we have a tons of aesthetic that you can create literally and express literally yourself as you prefer and as you want.
I look forward to seeing some of that. It really adds a lot, because I mentioned the craft had that kind of alien feel. Now it feels like they've got a more functional feel to the different parts that you upgrade on your craft, and more of a sort of a design aesthetic that we'll understand, especially when you're sort of playing from behind it and you see how the boosters and the functions work and the aerodynamic elements. So new tracks we've got in there. We've got new craft design. Let's talk gameplay. Have there been any improvements or refinements to the control system? What differences can we expect?
Yeah, it's totally. We worked a lot on how we can make more approachable for new player coming to Redout. Redout is a difficult game, and on Redout 1, many of our fans and players sometimes say, okay, it's good, it's nice, but it's really hard. And we want to try to lower the entry barrier, and we create many assists that you can enable and disable whenever you want, to try to help the player to experience the speed, because it's not fair. If we don't want to have many hard point to cross. Of course, there's it remain a difficult game, an hard game, and we want this kind of setting.
Yeah, you want to get new players involved, don't you? You want to get them involved. But what about, so you've got two types of players. You've got your new players, and we need the assists to get new players involved. You've got players who played the original Redout as well. Is the original control still available to fans of the original Redout, or are you now going to be using an all-new control system? If I wanted to, could I play the original controls?
Yeah, you have the controls, so of course the dual stick is still there, because it's our kind of it's our way to step up.
Yep.
We are the only one that that try to use the left stick and the right stick at the same time to achieve a sharp turn or make a drift, and it derives directly from drones control. And I was thinking when on Redout 2, why on Redout 1, why we don't try to push the ship with the right stick? It's really it's comfortable, and it's easy to achieve, and you have more control because it's an axis, it's not a button. So Wipeout have the air brakes that are literally two buttons. Yeah. With the stick you have more control because you can move from side to side or slide it. You can really have total control on how the ship is behaving.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing more of that, and also as you progress, no doubt you'll get more agile ships, faster ships, and that will alter your approach to how you steer with those ships and sensitivity. So I look forward to exploring all of that as well. But it's good to know that you've got all the control options in there. So if you're new to Redout futuristic racing games, it is a challenge. You do need to put some time into it, but you will be able to find a control system that works for you. A little bit of perseverance early on to get into the game and really start to find an aspect that works for you. Moving on, new console format. We have the new powerful consoles now, PS5 and Xbox Series X. What new visual elements can we expect to see on those consoles?
Yeah, there was of course an improvement on the screen, because we have a lot more power to squeeze, and you can see from a really technical perspective, you can see a lot of things more than Redout 1, because as you can say before, we had a lot of jumps. Jumps is not only a game design choice, it's also a creative decision, because on jump you feel the vertigo, but you can see everything from the boat. So you have you can literally throw your eyes across all the environment, and you can see and feel where we are and where the racetrack is placed, and it's a nice touch, I think. Also,
you have lots of new shining and reflections now. I've noticed more underwater effects now as well, for when you're going through water or going underwater and stuff like that. Lots of new lighting designs, and it's very fluid as well. Is it 4K 60?
It's 4K 60 on the next console.
The next gen consoles, yeah. And on the PS4 and Xbox One, it runs at
30 FPS HD.
30 FPS in HD on them, and 60 and 4K on the more powerful systems, and of course on Ninja PC it can be whatever you want it to be, but it does look glorious in motion. There's certainly lots of colours, whether you're underwater or whether you're racing around Japan. There's all kinds of wonderful colours and various unique elements there in the art and design. That's really nice to see, and it's great that it's given you the ambition in terms of the scale of the circuits and the environments and the amount of detail in the surrounding environment. On to music now though. Paolo, we're going to get to you. You've been sitting there patiently. Redout featured a wonderful selection of in-house music. I love the music in Redout. I listen to the music in Redout. I've used it on a whole bunch of my videos in the background now and again. Great work. I think it's an art form that has gone. It's one of the best racing soundtracks in years, from dance to the classical Neptune tracks. We'll listen to a brief example now of Neptune, and then some of the new examples from Redout 2. Let's take a look. Amazing as ever. I love that music. It is amazing when we're looking at the Neptune on Redout, or the new tracks as well on Redout 2. So, Paolo, can we expect more of this on Redout 2? What's the style that we've gone for? What's been the change from the original game? What is the evolution?
Well, the big change is that we looked for more styles. So everything that Ivano explained earlier had a reflection on audio and music as well. The idea is that we both agree that music is one of the essential tools that we can use to support the player in the driving experience, during the driving experience. So more than working on a single style, we decided to choose different genres depending on the environment, on some environment characteristics. So for months, Ivan and I had different conversations trying to find all the moods that the environment could create, and how I spent hours and hours listening to music to match those moods. So of course, compared to Redout 1, players will find more genres, more style. That was the intention. That was the idea, to open ourselves more to find, music styles and music characters that fit, in order to fit the environment. That was the idea. So, and compared to Redout 1, also another interesting aspect is we treated music in a completely different way. So in Redout 1 was more linear, so music was playing and stopping at the end of the race. Here music never stops. From the first frame when you start Redout until till the end when you decide to leave the game, you have continuous music. That's because we thought that music could support all your experience throughout the game flow. So we have the mix as well, the way the music is treated, the way the music is send you information about how you're driving, where you are, and if you are approaching the final part of the race, or if you're just starting. Music gives a lot of feedback. That was the step we introduced with Redout 2.
And you also, you've got interactive music in the first Redout. So depending on the part of the track you're on, sometimes it would change in a note in some way. Do you have something like that in Redout 2? Are there certain parts of tracks where the music note tends to change? Sometimes that could be the music fading in and fading out depending on the environment. Sometimes that could be it sounded like a different riff for a different section.
Well, we expanded that idea as we did with other topics. The thing is, there was a tricky moment while we were testing some interactive music systems, because the idea is the music can be interactive but should never distract the player. Okay, you need to be very focused while you're driving. So we identified moments and we used a lot of data coming from the ship, coming from how the race is going, and we mapped the music to those data. It's very complex. It's a very complex system, and the idea is we should never distract the player while he's driving, but something can happen when something is not working as expected. Yeah. So there are some sound effects that can but can cut the music a little bit, cut some frequencies of the music. And so that happens when you're not driving well, when you're crashing into something, but the musical experience should always give you the flow. And also, depending on the type, the game mode you're racing with, the music changes. So the arrangement are completely different, and the mix is completely different. So the solo race, when the single player races, the music is, has more like in a hypothetical hierarchical system, music is on the top, while when you race with other players, it's more important to hear if someone is chasing you.
Yeah, it's the same music, but obviously the volume levels change depending on the necessity of sound effects around you. Sound effects are quite powerful in Redout 2. There's a lot of whooshing of wind and giving you that feeling of weight and inertia as well, and what would be silence. And of course then you've got the different environments as well. Like you say, if you're above water, underwater, adds a whole new layer of complexity. How is that process? I mean, it sounds to me quite complex. Does it all need to be integrated into the physics?
Well, it depends from which sound we're talking about. Of course, ship sounds, all the ship sounds are, we made a big step with ship sound from Redout 1, because now each ship has its own signature sound, as we call it. So we started from original recordings. We had some recordings from cars and boats and airplanes, and we started from there. We kept some important information, oral information from those engines, and we're treating them live to characterize that specific team. And of course, those are related to all the data that we are receiving from the engine, from the all the the kitman, all the part of the ship. Regarding ambient sound, it's more, we worked with Ivano trying to give him at first some ideas on how that sound would have sounded, and I think we had a moment in which we were going back and forth with some sequences that Ivano was working on, and sound that was providing some feedback, characterizing those, and I think we influenced each other a lot, going back and forth through visual and sound, and finding new elements.
Well, either way, I mean, it's a complex amount of bringing it together, but it all combines in a very powerful selection when you consider the music, the huge range of sound effects, and it's quite, I say, there's a lot of bass rumbles and everything going on. It really is an energy filled selection. Let's listen to a bit more of that amazing music and sound effects action on Redout 2. Let's see a little selection of it in action. So awesome music tracks, action there, lots of fast racing cars, thrusting sound effects, and all round it's a cacophony of sound that we're hearing. It is an impressive range, and it gives you that energy that you're actually in the racing craft. Now, if that energy wasn't enough for you, is VR in the game? I thought I would ask, because we always get this request. It would probably kill me playing it in VR, but I guess either of you, do we have VR in the game?
I think no, we will not have any VR for now. Of course, we focus our effort on creating faster than before. So we will see in the future, but for now it's not it's not a plan.
I would say it's one of those few games that I played where I don't think I could handle it in VR. I did actually. I remember when they were testing Trackmania. I'm going off subject here, but I know when they were testing Trackmania in VR, and I tested an early version which was terrible, and then a later version where you have to attach your eyes to something. And what we learned is when you're doing something that's got so much spinning around, your eyes, your brain uses your nose to calculate your position. And so whenever you do VR, you always need to be in the ship or have a point of reference, so that because of the movement, otherwise you become very nauseous very quickly. So it doesn't matter to me, but we thought we'd answer that question. Split screen multiplayer. Does the game feature split screen multiplayer?
This time we will not have any split screen. We focused our effort on multiplayer online, and we are approaching the time where we release the full potential of multiplayer. That we will have a ranked system, and we are trying to push further on the competition side of the multiplayer. It's already present in the game. The multiplayer unranked, so you can play with your party. You can create your party with your friends and have fun with your friends, and of course you can matchmaking anyone you want. So I think we will focus our effort on the multiplayer online side.
Yeah, lots of online multiplayer aspects. And will there be cross-play? I get asked the question, will there be cross-play or not at this time?
We hope so, but for now we are again trying to pushing further the system we have. I will not exclude the cross-platform, but I cannot assure that it will be.
Is there an online mode in terms of a single player, or is it just lobbies and esports modes? What's the, just for me, if I want to play online today, what online mode can I just get stuck into? Quick race mode, is it?
Yeah, you can have the matchmaking that it will handle all the boring part for you. That it's literally one click and you play. We had auto seat, so you can entering a current race, and you start from the bottom of the group. So we try to push the boundaries of having everyone on the same time at the same time on the same server, so you can play. Of course, it's better starting from the beginning, but if you have 5 minutes, you can play online and you have fun.
Absolutely, as long as you practice a little bit first, otherwise you'll be last. I got to tell you that. Do put in a bit of practice, viewers. Okay, looking to the future, Redout saw some wonderful DLC. Can we expect to see more for Redout 2 in the future?
We are very close to release our first DLC, and it will be a summer homage, I think. And you will see it's really cool environment. It will add another small part of the narrative of the universe of Redout, and it's you can express literally all the speed we have in that environment. So
Excellent.
it will be really, really cool.
I look forward to seeing that, and perhaps we can get an exclusive look at it here as well. Who knows? But we will look out for that, and good to see that. So finally, Redout 2, you've got all these new graphics, tracks, gameplay modes, customization. It's a massive new game. I guess, Paolo, we'll start with you first. What aspect of Redout 2 are you most proud of?
Well, that's a tough question. So many things. No, no, it's anti-gravity racing is as you were saying earlier. It's an environment. It's a sandbox where you can experiment a lot. You can define new languages, new aesthetics, and that's what we try to do. And the most difficult part is giving a meaning and a cohesion. Okay, just say, okay, that's how it sounds. What I'm really proud of is how we integrated the relationship between sound and music. So all the sound effects have been created using approaches and tools borrowed from the music production standards, and we are really happy to consider them as instruments of the orchestra. So I would say, yeah, it's the orchestra we created with composers and sound designers.
Excellent. And Ivano, huge project for you. I mean, building the next stage of the Redout universe. But looking back at the production, when you think about where you start on paper and how things come together, what aspect are you most proud of?
Yeah, as Paul said, it's a tough question because there's a lot of things, a lot of improvement that we made from Redout 1. But I think it was we were thinking that the speed sensation, the feeling of speed of Redout 1, it was unbeatable. I think we nailed it because in Redout 2 we are focusing not only on the camera aspects of the literally the speed of the ship, that it's of course fundamental, but it's literally many parts contribute to enhance this feeling. Paolo with the music and sound, Art with the design of the track borders that will increase the feeling of objects that are moving closer to you, that it's helping a lot. And of course, camera and all the effects we had over. Yeah, I think we did a great job on the feeling of speed. So if you are a speed fan, you will not regret to enter Redout 2.
No, it is certainly you need to be able to handle the speed. There's no doubt about it. Well, Ivano, Paolo, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciated that insight into Redout 2, and now we'll look a bit more at the game. But thank you very much for both your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. It was really a pleasure to be here. And hi, guys. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you. So that was great to chat to those guys, learn more about their inspiration behind the genre. It is a genre that has gone through the ages. There have been some wonderful titles released over the years, iconic titles that have pushed technology. And even today, when you look at iconic titles such as F-Zero and the Wipeout series, what they've meant to gaming, and they still stand strong in terms of the original titles that were released either in the 90s or soon after. It's changed over the years, but I still think the essence of Wipeout and Wipeout 2097 were pushing the genre. And then of course F-Zero GX took it all a lot further, and then we had that really long wait until Redout, which came out. I loved Redout, and I've enjoyed putting this video together as well, and looking at Redout 2 and the stunning visuals and the elements they've put together here. I hope you've enjoyed this video taking a look at Redout 2. There'll be some more gameplay to come on the channel, and do let me know the aspects you like most, or the changes you'd like to see, or what you'd like to see most in the futuristic genre. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do like and subscribe, it supports what I do, and there'll be more from me very soon.